Hello and welcome back to another episode of Sexology Podcast. I am so excited and honored to welcome Dr. Albert Wong to our show. Dr. Albert, welcome to our show.
Oh, it's so great to be with you. It's a delight to see you and reconnect.
When I work with couples, I hear that at times they say that my partner is bad in bed. Like we
Mhm.
hear that term kind of throwing around the internet in relationships and kind of sessions. So, what people often mean when they say like my partner is bad in sex?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, absolutely. That's one of the things that really comes up a lot. Like, hey, I want to feel something a little bit more, but it's not really happening. And what's going on? Like, why isn't this working? Right. And frequently it's this notion of like there's a longing for some kind of connection, right? There's a desire to be met in a way where it's like not just like a certain kind of relational distancing or just where it's actually connecting on all different layers or levels, right? And sometimes a partner just has not kind of learned to connect with themselves and feel what it's like to be in their bodies. Sometimes it's they don't know how to connect with another human being kind of in this really intimate space. Like sex is really vulnerable, right? And so sometimes the way that we've been taught about what sex should look like, it's very performative. Like, oh, I've seen this in whatever it is that people watch, right? And they try and reenact that, but it doesn't really come from an organic sense of their interconnected being, their interconnected being. It doesn't emerge out of the relationship. And sometimes when sex happens that's not actually relational, it can feel very objectifying, like I'm not really a person to this person. And it ends up kind of falling off the mark. There's not really attunement, there's not connection. And that's what people really, really long for, right? They're not just wanting kind of some kind of, I don't know, like physical kind of catharsis, right? It's really an experience of connectingness, right? Of bonding and being with another person wherever they are. So when people have kind of challenges, right, in that domain, I think it's really how do I learn to help my partner or feel them with me, there's so much sometimes talk about, oh, my partner isn't that in bed, or I just don't find myself sexually kind of interested, right? And frequently it's like, okay, well, it's the kind of sex that's happening, right? It's the kind of disconnected, disembodied, not really I'm with you and I'm feeling the interconnectedness of our being, right? It can be a really special thing when people do feel interconnected. And in that instance, when there's I'm feeling with you and you're feeling with me and we're feeling together, it's like, well, the outcome doesn't really matter, right? We don't have to get someplace. We're just together wherever we are. And then really kind of beautiful things can happen when you almost let go of outcome.
I agree with you. I often see people are very fixated about the skills. They say we just don't have the sexual skills required to do this. And I
Mhm.
feel at times they're missing the mark on big part of like a great kind of even extraordinary sexual experiences is the connection you have with the other person. So you might
Mhm.
have the best skills, quote unquote, but if their connection is not there, right, that the
Yeah.
person might not kind of enjoy it and you might not enjoy it because as you mentioned
Mhm.
there is this lack of attunement and
Totally.
what makes sex exciting for many people, that kind of electrifying connection between two people that you might miss because perhaps you're so hyper focused on doing things right or you are so anxious in your body,
Yeah.
which can make it very difficult to be
Mhm.
relational. Like one of the questions at times I get people is like, my partner want me to look into their eyes when I orgasm. And it's just so
Mm.
hard for me and just feel
Mhm.
so anxious. And I think that's why many people go to the place of fantasy all throughout kind of sexual
Yeah.
experiences because they're just so
Mhm.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. No, totally. Like there's the kind of it's real, it's so intimate, right? Kind of. And sometimes it's almost like too much. Like I can't do this. It's too much. And and yeah, so sometimes eye contact is really challenging and hard, and absolutely right. Sometimes just being with the person however they are, wherever they are, kind of with eye contact, without eye contact, that can be just what makes it safe enough to come back into contact, right? And absolutely, the thing that you said about skills is really so true. Like sometimes people get so fixated on, okay, what do I do, where do I, kind of where's that, and what's the pay, and all of that, and they really lose the other person because they're so fixated on kind of, okay, I learned this tool, let me use this tool or this skill, and the skill, it's almost like this, they have a relationship with the skill but not a relationship with the person, and really that's what it's all about, right? Kind of the first skill is to be here with you, right? Be here with me, right? And your body and your being is the real instrument, right? And so how do we kind of let that be our presence and our being inside ourselves, with ourselves, feeling inside ourselves, feeling with the other person, let our being be the primary skill, right? That moves everything. And there are certain kind of like maybe technical ish things, but it's all, you shouldn't kind of ever, right? Kind of, it ain't, don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing, right? You gotta have, maybe there is this, kind of like certain technical aspects, but you need to have the connection and the presence and the being for sure. Mhm.
Absolutely, and you're right. There are things that requires kind of awareness and skills. Like I know that one of the guests we
Mhm.
had, they were talking about the research they've done around choking and
Ah,
how
right.
much of a skill it is, right? You don't want to choke
Yeah.
someone randomly in the bedroom when you don't have information about kind of
Yeah.
their medical situation where they are. So there are certain things that require
Mhm.
skills, but what makes
Mhm.
sex very exciting, and I think at times some people see kind of partner sex being more exciting for them than solo experiences, is that interpersonal experience of it, that how exciting it is to co-create this narrative with someone else in
Mhm.
the bedroom.
Yeah, it's like it's a dance, right? It's kind of a living, breathing kind of, there's more dynamic uncertainty, there's a lot more unknowns, right? Which can make it both scary but also exciting if you can kind of like let your body breathe into it, if there's enough safety, right? So yeah, no, 100% on board with you, right? It's kind of relational contact is both kind of deeply satisfying and kind of sometimes terrifying, but it's where some of the most electric moments occur.